Today I'm going to teach you how to use a picture to represent daily life situations and how to develop an equation based on your picture because pictures help build our conceptual understanding. So this is the 7.1 visual summary. So they tell me that Drew is 3 years younger than his brother Jimmy. Okay, as soon as they give me some information about somebody, I'm going to make like a little mark next to that person's name. The sum, okay, so I know that means addition, of the brothers' ages is 21. So I know the ages together equal 21. So I want to try to figure out how old each of the boys are. Whichever one I did not give you any information about, so the one that doesn't have the check, that's what I'm going to use to be my x. So there's my variable. So Jimmy is going to be x. So now I go back up here. Drew is 3 years younger than Jimmy. So Drew is what Jimmy is. He's x. But then he's 3 years younger, so then it's also a minus 3. So if I want to turn these into equations, Drew would be the equation or the expression x minus 3. Jimmy would be the expression x. So as an equation altogether, I would have x plus x minus 3, or I have 2x minus 3, and we know they have to equal 21. So these two together have to equal 21. So when I put them together, that's the 21. Or I could see over here by a picture, it's 21. So I know that the x has to be the same quantity. So if instead of subtracting 3, if I put 3 more onto here, that would be 24. And if I divided 24 into 2 equal pieces, I would get x equaling 12. And I can check it. If Jimmy is 12, that means Drew is 9. So Jimmy 12, Drew would be 9. And if I add these two together, I do get the 21 years old. So Jimmy is 12 years old, and Drew is 9 years old. Okay, so we could have a problem that involves more than just 2 pieces. This next example has 3. So it's telling me about Mark. Mark has 3 times as many baseball cards as Sue. Just told me about Mark. I'm going to put a little X there. Jim has 7 less, subtraction, baseball cards than Mark. Okay, they just told me about Jim. The person they didn't tell me about is Sue. So in my picture, Sue is going to be my X. So I'm going back. Mark has 3 times as many as Sue. Well, if Sue is X, 3 times as many would be X, X, X. And these would be plus signs between. So 1, 2, 3, 3 times as many as Sue. Jim has 7 less than Mark. So Jim has everything Mark has. X, X, X. But then he has 7 less, so then minus 7. So if I want to first write these as expressions, Mark would be 3x, Sue is x, Jim would be 3x minus 7. If I want to try to write that as an equation, I'm going to put all these together. So it's Mark 3x plus Sue x plus Jim, all of that has to equal the 28 cards. So these 3 together have to be 28. These pictures together have to be 28. I can simplify all this. I could put my x's together. 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 3 more. So I have 7 x's, which I can see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Minus 7 has to be equal to 28. We will learn how to solve these kinds of equations in the next section. But looking here for my picture, so I have a bunch of these x's, and then if I take 7 away, I get 28. So if I put the 7 back on here, that would get me to 35. So then I would have 7 x's has to equal 35. Well, if 7 x's is 35, that means each one of these x's has to be equal to 5. So now I'm going to figure out how many cards each person has. Sue has X, so Sue has 5 cards. Mark has 5 plus 5 plus 5. Mark has 15 cards. Jim has 5 plus 5 plus 5, but then take away 7. Jim has 8 cards. Now I can always check. If I add 15 plus 5, I get 20 plus 8 gives me back the 28 cards total.